What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin from the Puff and Ponder podcast, and this is another episode of the Diaries of a Mad Mechanic. Something just happened to kind of hit me in the feels a little bit. Young lady comes in. Well, first of all, I get called to the front. Salesman up there. This young lady, she brought her car in. She launched it off of her curb. She gave a little vibration, a little bit of a pulling, and I'm like, all right, got some info from her. Took it for a spin. Replicated the issue. Brought it back in the shop. The whole time, her name on the ticket, I'm like, well, that's just, I know that name, but she doesn't look familiar. And then, so I pull it back in, get it in, get my inspection done, go in and talk to her. And I'm like, all right, I got your report done. I like talking to my own customers, especially in the younger customers. And it's not, I have a daughter, so I have an innate ability to talk to daughters. This young lady, 21, 22 or so, I know how to talk to somebody's daughter, and at least make them feel, not overbearing like a salesman, but almost act like that fatherly figure. I go, hey, are you related to insert name here by chance? Yeah, it's my dad. And I'm like, I've known your dad for like 20 years. And I'm like, I said, I think I met you like when you were a baby, but we were joking, and I'm like, "Your dad knows I work here. Why didn't he call me?" And and she goes, "I didn't want to be mad at me and yell at me for hitting a curb." And even now, just like I know my daughter never, and her dad's a super cool cat, and yeah, he would probably be like, insert her now. I don't want to give out names. What were you thinking? Were you dumb? And it's like, are you okay? And sometimes as dads, we love our children, and like I say, we yell at them when they're, when they mess up. Like my daughter knows, like if she did that, like my first response would be, "Are you okay?" And then she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Then I'm like, "God, what are you, dumb? Are you just not paying attention?" I always want to make sure my daughter knows that she can come to me with absolutely any problem, anything. And I don't want her to feel guilty. There are some times when she's done some dumb stuff, and I found out about it later, and I'm like, nothing major like launching your car off the curb. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, I was embarrassed, and I wanted to let you down. And and she says that, and then everything I do in life is to make my daughter proud of me, which is absolutely insane. I tell that to my daughter all the time. Like parents, I said we shouldn't be working, to make our kids proud of us. But that's what I do. I always want my daughter and want my kids to be proud of me, in everything I do. But dads, you got to instill it in your kids, especially these young boys. These young boys look up to their dads, and I was hard on my son, growing up. I'm hard on my son now, and I mean, but I know they know that they can always tell me anything and come to me with their everything. But these young boys, I think sometimes we're too hard on them, and it's not good, because you want them to be able to mess up and still be the first person that they call. You don't want them to call, because I've got friends that their dads they're hard on them. It's the sports dads, that are out there too, and they call their mom. Mom, I messed up. How do I approach dad with this? And I've seen those situations before, and the dads are hard, but they're loving, and they just want what's best for their kids. And I can honestly say my kids know that they can come to me with anything. Absolutely anything. They can launch their vehicle off a curb, and they know the first thing I'm gonna ask is, "Are you okay?" And then the second thing is, what the reason you want your kids to do that is because this young girl in her early 20s, that's a dangerous environment, going into an automotive repair facility. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't care. Could call what it is. I would never want my daughter going, after having some kind of little accident, bender, curb check, going into, because like, oh God, yeah, you need you bet your flux capacitor, your Canuter valve is It's basically on backwards. So no, we can't even straighten it out. We're gonna have to replace that whole thing. And there are a lot of places out there that will take advantage of young kids because they know they don't know what they're talking about. Dads, moms, dads especially gotta use this. You have to be the excuse why work can't get done. If my daughter had to go in, my daughter lived about 4 or 5 hours away from me for a couple of years, but luckily we had other facilities down there that she knew, to take it to. But my daughter, if she got an estimate for anything, she's like, I gotta call my dad. Gotta call. She would call me first. You know what? She'd be on there handing the phone over to the guy. You need to talk to my dad. I don't make any of these decisions. You got to talk to my dad, and that's the way it should be. These salesmen, they should be afraid of us dads. And but yeah, if your daughter or son walks into a repair facility and it's like, hey, I hit a curb. Can you please check out my car, and then I can call my dad and let him know what's going on so we can figure this out. As soon as you throw out, I'm going to call my dad or my dad's going to make the decision, you're instantly change the mindset of that technician and that salesman. And like, ooh, we can't take advantage of this one. And that's the way it should be for every car, but it sucks because we do take advantage, not we, we as the industry do take advantage of these kids and women and even some men nowadays we take advantage of because they're lady boys. Not like in that, like lady men. I'm not making fun of that genre. God, I should probably edit this one out. But yeah, it's we got some feminine men that come in that don't know anything about cars, and they shouldn't be taken advantage of. And unfortunately, they are at times, and women and everything else. But yeah, men, dads, you gotta be the excuse. You gotta be the excuse your kids use to not get ripped off. And I proudly take that role on. Mess with one of my kids, try and rip my kid off, I'll rip your fucking throat out. But yeah, that's all I got. Be the excuse. Yeah, just be the excuse. And just make sure your kids know that they can come to you first. All right, I gotta get out of here to the UPS store. Peace.